Wisdom, wisdom, that's the test. Which rival wisdom team is best? Quote definitions and synergies defined by Claude AI, coordinated by Grandpa Lou Valier. Take care and enjoy.
Team 44. Choose wisely. Quote definitions, biographical context and synergy analysis to replace hate.org with motivational education to guidealife.com. Quote 44.1. To the victors belong the spoils. Andrew Jackson 1767 to 1845. Quote definition. Those who succeed in genuine contest earn what that success yields, the rewards, the authority, the advantages that flow from having genuinely won. This is not merely a description of crude political plunder, but a recognition that genuine effort and genuine success carry genuine entitlement to their fruits. The spoils are the consequence of genuine victory, and genuine victory earns them honestly. Quote application. Applied to the mission's work. When genuine wisdom education produces genuine community transformation, the spoils, the trust, the influence, the expanded opportunity to do more, are legitimately earned and should be claimed without apology. The mission that wins genuine victories for human dignity earns the standing to expand that work. Choose to compete genuinely and claim what genuine victory honestly earns. Andrew Jackson appears in teams 38, 40, and 42 as well. The phrase, "to the victors belong the spoils," was actually coined by Senator William L. Marcy of New York in 1832, defending Jackson's patronage appointments to Congress. But it became so associated with Jackson's presidency and political philosophy that it has been attributed to him ever since, and the association reflects a genuine truth about his operating style. Born in 1767 and orphaned by 13, Jackson's entire career was built on the frank recognition that genuine contests produce genuine winners whose victories entitle them to what those victories yield. His politics were rough-edged and his spoils system produced genuine problems of corruption, but the underlying observation, that genuine success earns its rewards, is separable from its most problematic applications and remains a genuine truth about how incentive and effort connect. This quote specifically encourages individuals to 1. Compete genuinely and claim what genuine victory earns, without apology for the success that genuine effort produces, and without false modesty about the standing it creates. 2. Apply the spoils principle to the mission's genuine victories. Trust earned, communities transformed, influence expanded. These are the honest spoils of genuine wisdom work and should be deployed for more of the same. 3. Recognize that wise choosing includes choosing to compete fully and to claim honestly what genuine victory yields, rather than the false humility that leaves genuine spoils unclaimed and genuine standing unused.
Quote 44.2. The man who trusts men will make fewer mistakes than he who distrusts them. Camillo di Cavour 1810 to 1861. Quote definition. Default trust, the generous starting assumption of good faith in others, produces fewer errors over time than default distrust, because distrust generates its own failures. The ally alienated by suspicion, the opportunity missed by defensive withholding, the relationship never built because the first overture was never made. The trusting person's occasional error of misplaced trust is less costly than the distrusting person's systematic error of misplaced suspicion. Quote application. Choosing wisely means choosing to trust as a default rather than distrust, extending genuine good faith to communities, to potential partners, to the people a mission serves, knowing that the occasional misplaced trust is less costly than the systematic damage of reflexive suspicion. Cavour's statesman's observation is drawn from a full spectrum of human alliance. Trust, in the aggregate, produces better outcomes than its alternative. Camillo Paolo Filippo Giulio Benso, Count of Cavour, was born in 1810 in Turin, Piedmont, and became the primary architect of Italian unification. The brilliant pragmatic statesman who maneuvered the kingdom of Sardinia into position to lead the Risorgimento, coordinated with Garibaldi's dramatic military campaigns, and built the diplomatic alliances with France and Britain that made the unified Italian state possible. He served as Prime Minister of Sardinia and then briefly as the first Prime Minister of unified Italy before his death in 1861 at 50, just as the nation he had built was beginning. His observation about trust producing fewer mistakes than distrust comes from a man who had spent his career building coalitions across competing interests and who had learned from direct diplomatic experience that the default trust that genuine partnership requires produces better results in aggregate than the defensive suspicion that partnership opportunities. This quote specifically encourages individuals to 1. Choose default trust over default distrust as the operating stance toward others. Understanding that the aggregate outcome of trusting generously is better than the aggregate outcome of suspecting reflexively. 2. Apply Cavour's statistical wisdom to the mission's community relationships. Extend good faith first. Build genuine partnership where it is offered, and accept the occasional misplaced trust as the cost of the many genuine alliances that only trust enables. 3. Recognize that wise choosing includes choosing to trust, the choice that produces fewer mistakes, more genuine alliance, and the collaborative capacity that suspicion systematically destroys.
Quote 44.3. To read without reflecting is like eating without digesting. Edmund Burke, 1729–1797. Quote definition. The mere intake of information, consuming words without pausing to assimilate, consider, question, and integrate them, produces no more genuine nourishment than swallowing food without the digestion that converts it into what the body can actually use. Reading is the beginning of learning, not its completion. Reflection is the metabolic process that converts what has been read into something the mind can genuinely use. Quote application. Wise choosing requires genuine reflection, not mere information consumption. The wisdom in these 52 teams is not absorbed by reading alone but by the reflective digestion that follows. Sitting with a principle, testing it against experience, questioning its edges, finding where it applies most directly to the choices at hand. The mission's workbooks and educational materials are designed for this digestion, not to be read through but to be reflected upon. Edmund Burke appears in teams 8, 15, 17, 28, and 34 as well. His principles about toleration, integrity, patience, education, and rising after falls anchor multiple frameworks. Born in 1729 in Dublin and serving as a Member of Parliament for nearly 3 decades, Burke was the most important political philosopher of the British parliamentary tradition. His observation about reading and digestion reflects his career-long conviction that genuine understanding required the kind of sustained reflective engagement that mere information consumption could never provide. He had watched enough people read widely and think poorly to understand that the gap between the two was the gap between intake and digestion. His own writing demanded the reflective digestion he prescribed. His Reflections on the Revolution in France is a work that rewards the slow, questioning, genuinely reflective engagement that his metaphor describes. This quote specifically encourages individuals to 1. Build reflection into every reading practice, pausing to question, to consider, to test against experience, to integrate into existing understanding, because reading without this digestion produces no genuine intellectual nourishment. 2. Apply Burke's metabolic standard to the mission's wisdom content. Design it and use it for reflection, not consumption. The workbook completed thoughtfully is more valuable than 10 workbooks skimmed. 3. Choose the slower, more reflective engagement with wisdom over the faster, more superficial accumulation of it, because the digestion is where genuine wisdom is actually produced.
Quote 44.4. A forest bird never wants a cage. Henrik Ibsen 1828–1906. Quote definition. The creature whose nature is formed in genuine freedom, whose spirit is shaped by the open sky, the wide forest, the full range of what genuine freedom allows, cannot be genuinely contained by even the most comfortable cage. The cage may hold the body, it cannot contain what the forest has formed. And the forest bird who has known freedom will never genuinely want what the cage offers in its place. Quote application. Every human being is a forest bird, formed for genuine freedom, for the full dignity that genuine liberty provides, for the wide range of what genuine humanity allows. Hatred is the cage, the comfortable, closed, seemingly protective confinement that replaces the wide forest with the predictable familiar. The mission chooses freedom over the cage, and recognizes that those who seem most comfortable in their cages of prejudice and hatred have simply forgotten, or never known, what the forest feels like. Henrik Ibsen was born in 1828 in Skien, Norway, apprenticed as a pharmacist's assistant at 15 when his family's financial collapse made further education impossible, and became through extraordinary self-directed development the most influential playwright in the Western tradition after Shakespeare. His A Doll's House, Hedda Gabler, The Master Builder, and Ghosts redefined what drama could explore about the inner lives of ordinary people trapped by social convention, family expectation, and the comfortable cages of respectable life. His entire dramatic career was organized around the theme his observation articulates: the forest bird, the person of genuine interior freedom and genuine aspiration, who finds themselves in the cage of social conformity, bourgeois comfort, or others' expectations. He understood the cage from inside and the forest from imagination, and he spent his career making the distinction undeniable. This quote specifically encourages individuals to 1. Recognize the cages in which comfortable conformity, tribal belonging, and inherited hatred offer their apparently comfortable confinement, and choose the forest instead. 2. Apply this to those who seem most content in hatred's cage. They are forest birds who have forgotten the forest, and the mission's work is to remind them what the open sky feels like. 3. Choose the genuine freedom that genuine wisdom offers over the comfortable confinement of certainty, prejudice, and the tribal belonging that substitutes familiarity for genuine human flourishing.
Quote 44.5 Friendships are discovered rather than made. Harriet Beecher Stowe 1811 to 1896. Quote definition. Genuine friendship is not a product of deliberate construction, but a discovery. The recognition of a genuine connection that was always potentially present, revealed through the encounter that makes it visible. The person who tries to manufacture friendship through strategic effort is doing something fundamentally different from the person who creates the conditions of genuine encounter, in which the friendship that was always possible can be found. Quote application. The mission's community building is a process of discovery rather than manufacture, creating the conditions in which genuine human connections that were always potentially present can be recognized and realized. Every genuine wisdom encounter, every honest community engagement, every moment of authentic human contact is the territory in which the friendships waiting to be discovered can finally be found. Choose to create discovery conditions rather than to manufacture connection. Harriet Beecher Stowe appears in themes 29 and 38 as well, where her observations about instinctive philosophy and mind-making body anchored those frameworks. Born in 1811 in Litchfield, Connecticut, Stowe was the daughter of a famous minister, the sister of another, the wife of a theology professor, and the author of the novel that Lincoln reportedly said started the Civil War. Her observation about friendships discovered rather than made nature comes from a woman who had formed some of the most significant literary and intellectual friendships of her era. With Frederick Douglass, with George Eliot, with Harriet Martineau, and who had observed consistently that the deepest of those connections had the quality of recognition rather than construction. They were found in encounters that revealed what was always potentially there. This quote specifically encourages individuals to 1. Create the conditions of genuine encounter, in community, in wisdom sharing, in honest human contact, rather than trying to manufacture the connection that only genuine encounter can reveal. 2. Recognize the friendships waiting to be discovered in the people and communities the mission serves, the potential connections that genuine engagement makes visible rather than strategic relationship building produces. 3. Apply Stowe's discovery orientation to the mission's community work. The genuine friendships that make the mission sustainable and rich are found in the encounters the mission creates. Not manufactured but discovered through the authentic engagement that makes discovery possible.
Quote 44.6. Be curious, not judgmental. Walt Whitman 1819 to 1892. Quote definition. Curiosity and judgment represent two fundamentally different orientations toward people, ideas, and experience. Judgment arrives with a conclusion already formed and measures what it encounters against that conclusion. Curiosity arrives open, genuinely interested, ready to be surprised by what is actually there rather than confirming what was already assumed. The choice between them is the choice between genuine encounter and its performance. Quote application. This is one of the most practically transformative principles in the collection for the specific work of replacing hatred with wisdom. Hatred is organized judgment, preformed conclusions about people applied, without genuine curiosity about who they actually are. The antidote is not better judgment about the same people, but the replacement of judgment with genuine curiosity. Who is this person actually? What is actually happening here? The curious approach is where genuine human encounter begins. Walt Whitman was born in 1819 in West Hills, Long Island, left school at 11, worked as a printer's apprentice, journalist, and editor before the publication of Leaves of Grass in 1855. The poetry collection he spent the rest of his life revising and expanding, and which is the most original and most genuinely democratic work in the American literary tradition. He served as a volunteer nurse during the Civil War, tending to wounded soldiers on both sides with a combination of genuine physical care and genuine human curiosity that is documented in his specimen days. His instruction to be curious rather than judgmental comes from a man who had spent his career practicing exactly that orientation, who had written with genuine curiosity and genuine openness about the full range of American humanity, from laborers to slaves to presidents, from the condemned to the celebrated, seeing each with the genuine interest that judgment forecloses. This quote specifically encourages individuals to 1. Choose curiosity over judgment as the operating orientation toward people who are different, who seem wrong, or who hold views that are easy to preemptively condemn. Ask who they actually are before concluding what they represent. 2. Recognize curiosity as the antidote to prejudice specifically. The genuinely curious person cannot maintain the preformed conclusion that prejudice requires, because genuine curiosity is incompatible with the closed certainty that hatred depends on. 3. Apply Whitman's simple instruction as the mission's most practical daily operating standard. Be curious, not judgmental, in every community engagement, every human encounter, every moment when the comfortable judgment is available and the more demanding curiosity is the wiser choice.
Quote 44.7. There is no revenge so complete as forgiveness. Josh Billings, 1818 to 1885. Quote definition. Forgiveness, genuine, freely chosen release of grievance against someone who has wronged you, is more complete a response to injury than revenge, because it removes the injury's power to continue damaging the injured party and simultaneously denies the injurer the ongoing significance that resentment would provide. Revenge keeps the injurer important. Forgiveness releases them to their own consequences while the injured person moves freely forward. Quote application. The mission of replacing hate with wisdom cannot be sustained on resentment, and the communities it serves cannot be freed by revenge. Josh Billings's paradox names the most complete available response to injury: forgiveness that releases both parties, the forgiven from ongoing accusation, the forgiver from ongoing bondage to what was done. Choose forgiveness not as weakness but as the most complete available response, because it accomplishes what revenge cannot: genuine freedom for the one who forgives. Henry Wheeler Shaw, Josh Billings, appears in Team 26 as well, where his observation about common sense as instinct and genius anchored the intelligence layer. Born in 1818 in Lanesboro, Massachusetts, and finding his literary voice at 45 through the deliberately folksy, wittily misspelled philosophical observation that made him second in popularity to Twain, Billings spent his career delivering genuine wisdom through the vehicle of comic deflation. His observation about forgiveness as complete revenge is characteristic. It delivers a profound psychological and moral truth through the unexpected frame of revenge completion, making the moral point land harder through the surprise of the approach. He had lived enough of human difficulty to understand that the forgiver's freedom was the most complete available response to injury, and he delivered the insight with the compression and wit that genuine wisdom in his hands always possessed. This quote specifically encourages individuals to choose forgiveness as the most complete available response to genuine injury, not because the injury was not real but because forgiveness releases the forgiver from the ongoing bondage that resentment maintains. 2. Apply Billings's paradox to the hardest cases. Where revenge seems the only adequate response, recognize that forgiveness is actually the more complete one, denying the injurer the ongoing significance that resentment provides. 3. Use this principle in the mission's engagement with those who have perpetuated hatred. The most complete response to the harm hatred has caused is not the revenge that keeps the cycle turning but the forgiveness that releases both parties to move genuinely forward.
Quote 44.8. Consequences are unpitying. George Eliot, 1819 to 1880. Quote definition. The natural and social consequences of choices, of cruelty, of ignorance, of hatred, of genuine wisdom or genuine kindness, operate without pity or exception. They do not adjust for good intentions, for extenuating circumstances, for social status, or for the sincerity of regret after the fact. The consequence follows the cause with the indifference of physical law. What was done produces what it produces, regardless of whether the door finds that just, appropriate, or convenient. Quote application. Choosing wisely requires honest reckoning with consequences, the actual outcomes that actual choices actually produce, without the comfortable insulation of intention as substitute for result. The mission rests on the honest recognition that hatred has unpitying consequences for the hated, for the hater, for the communities that hatred inhabits, and that wisdom also has unpitying consequences, equally real and equally indifferent to whether anyone chose to believe in them. Consequences are the ultimate teacher. Wise choosing learns from them honestly. George Eliot Marion Evans was born in 1819 in Nuneaton, Warwickshire, England, educated beyond most women of her era, worked as editor of the Westminster Review, and produced a body of fiction, Middlemarch, The Mill on the Floss, Silas Marner, Daniel Deronda, that makes her, by many assessments, the greatest English-language novelist of the 19th century. She wrote under a male pseudonym to ensure her work was taken seriously as fiction rather than dismissed as feminine sentiment, and she lived outside the conventional social arrangements of her time, in an openly acknowledged but legally impossible partnership with the married philosopher George Henry Lewes, accepting the social consequences of that choice with the equanimity of someone who had thought carefully about what genuine integrity required. Her observation about unpitying consequences reflects both her philosophical training and her personal experience. She had made significant choices and faced their consequences honestly, without the illusion that good intentions or genuine love would insulate her from what those choices produced in a society that had its own unpitying consequences for unconventional lives. This quote specifically encourages individuals to 1. Face consequences honestly, what actual choices actually produce, without the comfortable substitution of good intention for actual result, because consequences are indifferent to whether the person who caused them finds them just or convenient. 2. Apply George Eliot's unpitying standard to the mission's choices. What does hatred actually produce? What does wisdom actually produce? And what do the mission's own choices actually yield, without the cushion of wishful thinking about what good intentions should have produced instead? 3. Choose wisely by choosing with full honest reckoning of consequences, because the unpitying nature of consequences is the ultimate reason that wisdom in choosing matters as much as it does.
How They Work Together AS, a unified philosophy to replace hate with motivational education, to guidealife.com. The Choose Wisely framework. Engagement layer. Claim genuine victory and choose default trust. Quotes 1, 2. Jackson. Establish that wise choosing includes claiming what genuine victory honestly earns, the standing, the trust, the expanded opportunity that genuine success in the mission's work produces. Cavour. Provide the operating stance of genuine partnership. Default trust produces fewer mistakes than default distrust, making the generous starting assumption of good faith the wiser choice in building the alliances the mission requires. Together, the confidence and the generosity of wise choosing. Jackson ensures that wise choosing includes the willingness to compete genuinely and claim honestly what genuine victory yields, no false modesty about earned standing. Cavour ensures that the competition is conducted with the generosity of default trust, because the suspicious stance produces more errors than the trusting one, and genuine partnership is built only where genuine good faith is extended first. Learning layer. Reflect to digest and choose freedom over cage. Quotes 3, 4. Burke. Establish that genuine wisdom requires reflective digestion of what is read, the metabolic process that converts information into genuine understanding, making slow reflective engagement the wiser choice over rapid accumulation. Ibsen. Provide the freedom principle that wise choosing serves, the forest bird that chooses the open sky over the comfortable cage, ensuring that wisdom choices lead toward genuine human freedom rather than the comfortable confinement of certainty and prejudice. Together, the depth and the direction of wise learning. Burke's reflective digestion ensures that wisdom is genuinely absorbed rather than merely consumed, producing the genuine understanding that wise choosing requires. Ibsen's forest bird ensures that the wisdom being digested leads toward genuine freedom rather than the comfortable cage of preformed certainty, because the wisely choosing person chooses the open sky even when the cage seems safer. Relationship layer. Discover friendships and choose curiosity over judgment. Quotes 5, 6. Stowe, provide the orientation of genuine community building. Friendships are discovered rather than made, ensuring that the mission creates genuine encounter conditions in which the connections that were always potentially present can be found. Whitman, supply the most practically transformative daily operating choice. Be curious, not judgmental, replacing the preformed conclusion with genuine open encounter as the mission-standing approach to every human being it serves. Together, the orientation and the daily practice of wise choosing in relationship. Stowe's discovery orientation ensures that the mission creates encounter rather than manufacturing connection, the conditions in which genuine friendship reveals itself. Whitman's curiosity over judgment instruction is the daily practice of that orientation, the specific choice made in every moment of human encounter that makes genuine discovery possible and genuine judgment impossible simultaneously. Freedom layer. Choose forgiveness as most complete response and reckon honestly with consequences. Quote 7, 8. Billings, establish forgiveness as the most complete available choice in response to genuine injury. More complete than revenge because it releases both parties and removes the injurer's ongoing significance, making the generous release the wiser choice. Eliot, close the framework with the ultimate ground of wise choosing. Consequences are unpitting, making honest reckoning with what choices actually produce the foundation of every genuinely wise decision. Together, the most complete response and the ultimate ground of wise choosing. Billings's complete forgiveness is the choice that produces the most comprehensive outcome, the freedom of the forgiver, the release of the forgiven, the end of the cycle that revenge perpetuates. Eliot's unpitying consequences are the ultimate reason that the choice matters. What is chosen produces what it produces, indifferently and reliably, making the honest reckoning with actual consequences the most fundamental available motivation for choosing wisely.
Free Easy Extra Advantage Math, spelling and reading workbooks you can download for free at stop2think.com or buy at educationstopshate.com. Free Easy Math Wisdom Workbooks with octo repetition to grow math self-confidence. You'll get plenty of repetitive practice of age ranges and averages of our 52 teams of 8 quote authors. Free Easy Alpha Cipher-coded puzzles teach letters, numbers, and phrases using antique wisdoms that encourage and educate. Can you decode this cipher quote of encouragement using either our learning to spell or just for fun instructions? And since time is money, practice reading faster with 52 teams of antique rival wisdoms that have passed the test of time to encourage, educate, and entertain generations for centuries. We offer printed versions and timed videos with background music. Sign up for free weekly emails of 52 teams of antique rival wisdom workbooks with easy math, spelling, and reading practice. And, if you'd like to get paid for sharing our wearable wisdoms, keep this in mind. Everyone I know wears a shirt, and most of us change them daily, so change your shirt and change the world. Social equalities are blatantly subliminal antique positive wisdoms repetitively shared without saying a word. This applies to all our wearable shareable wisdoms. Like pretty witty baby onesies and baby tees that you and others will see and read multiple times a day. The same is true with pretty witty kids, but they'll also share these wisdoms with anyone that can read at daycare or school. Youthful truths let your kids gain confidence sharing antique wisdoms with their friends. Imagine them sharing words of wisdom with classmates and teachers. Therefore I think tees I wear is a super easy way to share words of wisdom that have passed the test of time. Our social equalities help make us all wiser and kinder with blatantly subliminal messages promoting a more fair and equal opportunity society for all. And don't forget our giftwisdoms.com for birthdays and holidays that makes it easy to share the wisdom with clothing, coffee mugs, and magnets. So do the future a favor by encouraging, educating, and entertaining with words of wisdom that have passed the test of time to make us all wiser and kinder. With wearable wisdoms to fit babies, kids, and adults. You can clothe a whole family, city, or state. Join the 52 of 8 today.